doctor. You are knowledgeable of the science of medicine, but there is also the art, the skill of execution of your knowledge. The greater your creativity in exercising that knowledge, then you become a skilled artist at your craft. So you're not only involved in the science of medicine, you are involved in the art of healing. Now, this world, however, is a world that has been more physical than spiritual, and it has not yet learned how to link the spiritual with the physical. So as you become a scientist and skilled at healing the physical, what is the standard by which you measure the health of the person spiritually, morally, and mentally? Now, you know the criterion for the physical body, but what is the criterion for the spiritual, the mental? That is not taught. But
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another broadcast of How to Save Lives. And I began in the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful. We have a wonderful program, a spectacular guest we want to bring to you to give us some extremely timely information. And today's topic is the will of God, farming and the survival of the fittest. We welcome our guest today, our brother Sawab Muhammad. How are you this evening, sir?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Yes,
alaikum
ma'am.
salam.
Thank you so much. I'm doing well by Allah's grace and permission.
Wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I want to read to our audience your wonderful information from your bio. Brother Sawab was a former student captain, student minister, Southern Region 9th Ministry coordinator, and he has been truly blessed to become the first fully functional, or actually have the first fully functional and operational farm in the 7th region history. All praise is due to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
Zamzam Farms, which is the name of his farm, it provides seasonal produce, survival preparedness training, emergency shelter building, emergency first aid, hunting, fishing, trapping, emergency fire starting, emergency water purification, CPR and first aid, martial arts, self-defense, agriculture, science events, and the most recent event hosted well over 200 in attendance at the location in Lake Wales. Zamzam Farm also provides training on animal husbandry of cows, goats, sheep, chickens, turkeys, etc. And currently, they have opportunities for employment for drivers, farm hands, as well as opportunities to live out on the land. There is a model home available on the farm with full insulation, electrical outlets, hurricane and storm-proof certified. Zamzam Farm has other farm locations throughout Florida and has now partnered with Health at its Best in Georgia. Zamzam Farm provides distribution of produce and livestock through Southwest Distribution at 600-6900, and I'll give you that information throughout the broadcast. And you can call or text that number, and the staff will respond within 24 to 48 hours. Let us welcome again our brother Sawab Muhammad. So, sir, I'd like you to just open us up and give us a little information about Zamzam Farm, or what you'd like our listening and viewing audience to have at the onset of this broadcast.
Praise be to Almighty God, Allah. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. I would love to greet the family and, of course, the guests and the visitors in the greeting words of peace. We say it, Assalamu alaikum. And for those of you who may not be familiar, that simply means peace be unto you. So, Sister Dr. Patrice, thank you so very much for allowing us to come onto your wonderful platform. This is something that I've personally been peeping in on for a long time, and you're doing an excellent job. Thank you so much.
Oh, all praise is due to Allah. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Praise Allah. Sister, I always would like to start off with something that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad have stated, if that would be okay.
Perfect. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. So this particular lecture was October 13th, 1991. And the title of that particular lecture was The Power of God to Heal the Black Man and Woman.
Ooh.
And of course, we won't go into all of it, but I do think that it's pertinent for this particular platform, healing the people.
Yeah.
So he said, is thinking right is beginning to understand truth and acting in accord with truth. Thinking right gives light and power to the mind that absolutely balances the physical systems of the body. He says that you can eat good, you can have a lot of exercise, but if you think wrong, you can make yourself sick. So most of us are sick from what we eat, but we are even sicker by what we think. We assume things that may or may not be true. Then we act on the assumption as though the assumption is the truth. So the wrong thought produces the wrong action, which produces the wrong results, which increases the pressure back on the mind, and it becomes a circle of pressure.
Ooh.
So I just wanted to start off with that because, Dr. Patrice, we're living in a very, very dangerous time. The scripture teaches us that this would be a perilous time.
Yes.
It also teaches us that this would be a great and dreadful day. And if we just examine those particular words, it should urge us to pick up the pace. And so today we'd like to speak on, by the permission of you, of course, and the will of Allah, the will of God. Yes. And if we are doing the will of God, we may find that out or may not find that out today, but we'll try to dig in a little bit. So I'll stop right there, but I just wanted to start off with that. All praises be to Allah.
All praises due to Allah. And that is a wonderful place to start, because although we will be discussing the physical food that helps to keep our bodies healthy, as we've been taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but that's my intro. My intro quotes the minister on a July 1996 lecture where he speaks to the National Medical Association regarding what's missing with spiritual health. How do we address that? So although this is not the forum by which we'll go into that, and I have in the past, and I'm circling back around to that again, because we need that close association with physical health, what we need to get our physical health up to par, but also what we need to combine that with our emotional, spiritual, mental health, because the combination of both is what really makes a healthy person.
That's right.
Okay. So could you tell us, Brother Sawab, what were the essentials? What was absolutely necessary, the necessary steps to start a farm? Can you
Yes,
give
ma'am.
us, and I'm asking everyone, please get ready to start posting your questions in the chat, because you are going to get a wealth of information today in this broadcast period.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I'll start off with what the minister says. If you see a man or woman with works, you saw a man or woman that have faith. And so the scripture teaches us that not by might or not by main, but by the Spirit, says the Lord.
Yes.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the messenger of Almighty God Allah,
yes,
he came onto the scene to free us from our oppressors.
right.
We cannot claim, with all due respect, as Jesus said, the truth would set you free. And 400 years later, we as Black people are suffering from more ailments and illnesses than anybody else on the planet. So clearly, this is a sign that we do not know the truth, because this is inexcusable for a people that had the messenger of Allah come to them first. And he gave us a book called How to Eat to Live, a book that many of our people, Dr. Patrice, threw on the bookshelf, and it's up there collecting dust.
Right.
But 60, 70, 80, even 90 years later, we see that every single word in that book, the scientists of this world are bearing witness. All of the scientists, even the greatest and most virulent enemies of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, have to bow to this.
Yes.
And this is why it says in Isaiah 52:15 that the scientists would shut their mouths at him, meaning that this one has so much truth, so much wisdom, that they cannot refute not even one word that this man teaches.
Yes.
But it is imperative, sister, that we grow our own food. And so hearing this, to answer your question, I didn't want to be a hypocrite. I didn't want to be one that hears the word and doesn't act out on the word, because they hear the truth and not act in accord with the truth. Either we are disbelievers, either we lack mental strength and power, or we are absolutely hypocrites. And I didn't want to find myself in any of those categories. And I had no idea how to go about it, sister. But he said, if you find a man or woman with works, you have a man or woman that have faith. So with faith, we just began to scour the internet. And I began to look and look and look. Over time, I found a place, and I spoke to some of the brothers who agreed that this would be a good place for us to start. Most of us didn't have any real background in farming or anything of that nature, but we are those who hear and obey.
Right.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, if there's 2 or 3, you get together and pool your resources and you make it happen.
Yes.
So it was 3 of us at that time total, and we pooled our little resources and we got our little bitty land, and we didn't really know what to do. We just was happy to look at it, but we couldn't just stop there. We said, brothers, we got to turn this into something. And so step by step and stage by stage, with trial and error, we began to move out. And we looked up information. Of course, it's difficult anytime that you're starting something from scratch and you're digging in your pockets, and none of us are rich like that.
Did any of you all have any? I'm sorry, sir. Did any of you all have any, just any basic information or any formal training in farming?
Ma'am.
Okay. Yes, sir.
No.
Yes.
So this is beautiful, because it eliminates the excuses. But anybody who may have that pop up in their mind, I don't know anything about it. Don't you know that God already knew that?
Right.
So if the God already knew it, but he instructed us to take our mouths out of the white man's kitchen, and this kitchen is killing us, literally, figuratively, physically, mentally, morally, economically, spiritually, on all levels. This system is designed to destroy us.
Right.
So if we don't pull our resources and usher in behind this one who's leading the charge, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who off of faith, by the way, reestablished the Nation of Islam.
Right.
Off of faith, by the way, bought the farmland back that the Nation of Islam once held. He did this off of faith and spirit. So how much more do we see this man literally walking on water spiritually, right? That's an analogy, but he's doing it.
Right.
Something that appears to be impossible, but it's possible.
Right.
All things are possible through Christ Jesus.
That's right.
So, I'll stop there. But that's how we got started. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And for those that are listening, they started without any formal or requisite knowledge about agriculture, the farming, animal husbandry. But they got started.
Yes.
This gives you an opportunity, though, to cut a lot of the mistakes that they probably made, that now you can, because you have Brother Sawab and others who are farmers, who are broadcasting a little bit more these days.
Yes, ma'am.
You can link onto them and get the knowledge and experience on when to grow a particular produce, how to raise certain animals for food, what kind of feed they should have. See, you have the opportunity to kind of cut to the quick, as they say, and get the information and do it right the first or the second time. You have that, you have those resources among us now. So that I wanted to point out. You can contact Brother Sawab. There's Brother Randy. We have other farmers that we need to link on to, and we need to find what I will do. I just thought about this right now. We need a list of farmers throughout the country whom we know and trust, because I don't know any personally. I know there are some farmers that some of the believers may do business with, or they may get milk here or there, but we need a list of those whom we can refer throughout our 7 regions for people to have a way to get the information. But we'll proceed. So again, you don't necessarily need any experience, because you actually do have resources. And one major resource right now we can give you is Brother Sawab. Okay. Also, could you walk us through a day in the life of a farmer? What does that day look like, so it can give people a true visual of what kind of work they will need to undertake? How early, how late? Give us a picture of what that looks like.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that. I would like to lead off by saying that there's always going to be challenges in anything that you start, but do not let fear paralyze you. As Sister said, we have many people throughout the nation who have this particular information and are doing well. To go ahead and get into your question, I would also like people to disabuse themselves of believing that they have to have hundreds of acres or I have to have this amount of acres, otherwise I'm not farming.
Right.
Most people don't really realize how big 1 acre is until you have to put some seeds in the ground.
Right.
Most people don't realize how big 1 acre is until you have to harvest those particular crops.
Yes.
And then you realize I don't need a lot to feed myself and my family and the community.
Brother
And
Sawab,
so, yes.
I'm sorry to cut you off. But we have a sister who is a farmer, Sister Vivian. She's in Indianapolis. She said that she farms on a quarter of an acre, and she does commercial farming. She has contracts with local grocers. And she farms on a quarter of an acre.
Shout out to sister, she's doing it.
So a quarter of an acre here, then a quarter of an acre there. But really, a quarter of an acre is a great deal of how she farms. But continue.
That's right. No, that's I'm so glad you brought that up, because a quarter of an acre, again, maybe not for the whole 43 million, but I guarantee you, when you're starting out, you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. And so that's a good size to start. And you and a couple brothers and sisters can go, pull your resources, put a little bit of a down payment. And of course, you can make your payments on that. So the day in the life, depending on what you actually have decided to do, it may be raising chickens. You don't need a lot of space for chickens. Get a coop. However, many you want to start off with. You want to get some laying hens. Rhode Island Reds are a good type of chicken that, if you take care of them and treat them well, they'll lay an egg a day. And, that's income and that's sustenance.
Right.
You may want to get into the seasonal produce. One of the things that I would suggest is that you find out the produce that you can plant during certain times of the year. You don't want to go through bumping your head thinking you can put anything in the ground at any time of the year. You cannot. But this is not difficult research. But I do want to say that the day in the life of a farmer is 24 hours. I don't want to scare anybody with that. But I say that because if you have a fully functional farm, you have animals. And, animals can break fences and they can get out and, things can happen. You have irrigation on your farm. You have water pipes that may bust. There's things that can go wrong. And so you do have to understand that this is not a part-time job. This is something that you and the group of brothers or sisters who are committing to this, you truly, really commit. Because if you don't truly, mentally, spiritually commit to this, you will not succeed. There's going to be days where everybody else is out doing things and you have to go to the farm. You have to take care of your animals. You have to make sure they're getting the crops and things of that nature are getting the proper nourishment and the water and things of that nature. So it is a full-time job. It just really breaks down to what you feel that you can do in the beginning, right? Because you're still learning. So I say things like chickens are something good to get into. You may want to have a goat or two, a sheep or two, and I want to add this. If you don't have the land and there's some trepidation, Zamzam Farms actually has a program where we invite our brothers and sisters to purchase chickens or goats or sheep or cattle, and you can keep them out on the farm and we'll take care of them. And you can come and visit anytime you want. You can, breed them and you produce more chickens and more animals and things of that nature, because we understand that there's a level of trepidation and anxiety that goes into something of this magnitude. And so we have opened that up for our brothers and sisters, and it is beginning to catch on. So that's another way you can at least have your toe in the game, so to speak. And you can say, hey, I'm a proud owner of 25 chickens, or I'm a proud owner of maybe a certain type of cow, Black Angus, or whatever it may be. But that's something that we could work out. And again, whenever you want to pick up your cow or slaughter it or whatever it may be, then you can do that. And we will help you with the butchering. We'll help you with the shipment, things of that nature. So wanted to just put that out there for people that want to get into this, but may not have the full time, but still want to be an owner of such.
Oh, that's a wonderful opportunity. Absolutely. That is a wonderful opportunity. I'd like everyone who has a question to please put your question in the chat, and I will put this question up. I think it's rhetorical, but let's see. Okay. So Muhammad Siaga states, asks, how important is the truth in one's life? Books can educate and empower one or a million. Farming is the foundation that really protects and grows the truth. So, so yes, it does, and we are in a time right now where we can no longer continue to sit on the sidelines, so to speak. We need more in our communities. We see the policies that are increasingly not supportive at all, unsupportive of our neighborhoods, food. We see that they're cutting food for families and children, cutting those programs. Well, what are we going to do? So we received this information many years ago, over 60 years ago, we received this information. And so we're still actually 90 years. So we're still kind of doing this in a sense, but we have come a little ways because there are farmers like yourself, Sister Vivian, Brother Randy. I mean, there may be others. It's not as many as we really need, because we have, including myself, I've had land in Georgia for 5 years.
Yes, ma'am.
For 5 years, and have started projects or thought about this and came back because of, some commitments with taking care of my mother and whatever. Bottom line is, it's a really good time for me now that Allah brought this around. So I'm connecting with Brother Sawab, so that we can put that land to use. Right. So we are looking to do that also. We are also looking at a project. I don't have the particulars right now, and I don't want to say too much, but suffice it to say that even in the central region, we're looking at providing some food sources and having our brother to help supply us with that. Yes, so we are looking to help remedy as much as we can for our communities, but we need everybody. We need all hands on deck to do something. It doesn't have to be this grand, as Brother Sawab said, it doesn't have to be this grand, effort, have to get a lot of acreage and, because again, the first time out the gate now, you have to make some wise choices here, and you're getting some very good advice on how to proceed. Okay, so please put your questions in the chat. I know that we have questions, or we should have questions, because if we are going towards making this a reality for our families and in our communities, we should have some very beginning questions, some questions to write off. Okay, what is my first move? We should have some questions that will help start us on this journey.
Sister Dr. Patrice, if I could,
yes,
I'd like to share a particular scripture that really is in alignment with what you're doing, because the urgency is the key word you used. And we know that there's a scripture that says that the devil comes upon the people with great wrath because he knows that his time is short.
Yes.
And we have something called the Supreme Wisdom Lessons. Yes. And these Supreme Wisdom Lessons are absolutely right and exact. Yes. It talks about a certain category of people who are blind, deaf, and dumb.
Yes.
Who are poison animal eaters.
Yes.
Slaves from mental death and power. That's
Yes.
very important because we're talking about a people that have to be fit for the kingdom of heaven.
That's right.
What is the definition of fit? I'd like to read it if I could.
Yes, sir.
One of the definitions it says is the ability to focus for long durations of time until objective is reached.
Mm.
It also says fit of a suitable quality, standard, or type to meet the required purpose.
Yes.
Fit also means adapted to the environment so as to be capable of surviving.
Yes. Yes.
Sound physically and mentally, to conform correctly to the shape or size of. Now let's look at what unfit is, sister.
Right.
Unfit is not adapted to a purpose,
Mm.
unsuitable, not qualified, incapable, incompetent, physically or mentally unsound.
Yes.
To have to
Yes.
continue to remind the people to do that which is in their best interest, with all due respect, that doesn't look too fit to me.
Right.
And so I would like to share what the devil is doing, because remember, he comes to the people with great wrath because
Right.
he knows that his time is short. So the devil, you may have heard of this, biosolids or bio waste.
Mm.
And this biosolids and bio waste actually come out of the human waste centers.
Mhm.
And this has toxins in it called PFAS. They're also described as forever chemicals.
Yes.
And these
Absolutely.
forever chemicals are literally prevalent everywhere in the society. Your soil,
Yes.
the air that you breathe, the when you're bathing at night, you're bathing in forever chemicals. When you brush your teeth, it's going right into your gums and right into your system. But guess where else it's going? Since we really still move slow, maybe this will pick up the pace for us. It's going right to the farms. They use that as fertilizer.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes directly into the chickens. It goes directly into the eggs that you don't mind buying from the devil instead of your brothers and sisters who have it chemical and toxic free. It goes right into the beef that you love eating. It goes right into the fish that you love eating. It goes right into the lettuce. When you really believe that you're eating healthy, the devil comes with great wrath.
Yes.
So it's literally in the soil, going right into the leaves that you're eating. When you believe that you're eating good, healthy fruits and vegetables, he's killing you.
Yes.
So how strong is our foundation? Will we survive?
Right.
This is the time where we have to make the correct mental decisions. While we talk about mental, because the 85% are slaves from mental death and power.
Right.
We're talking about now the will of God.
Yes.
Sister Dr. Patrice, I know you know this all too well.
Yes.
But look
sir.
what PFAS or forever chemicals target. They target something called the anterior mid cingulate cortex. And guess what this particular region of the brain is responsible for? Willpower. We're talking about doing the will of God. So look how the enemy is so wise that he targets the part of the brain that's responsible for will. So we can see, let me slow down a little bit if I could. Let me just say this. I'm excited, but I'm excited because this is all in alignment with the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Louis Farrakhan. They've been warning us. We wonder why we're so lethargic. We wonder why we are satisfied, sister, with just commenting on social media platforms, and we believe we did our job. I commented. I argued with somebody on Facebook, but you didn't get up and do anything after that.
Yes.
Because the scripture, it is scripture, supreme wisdom. They're slaves from mental death and power. But look what it says. It's a key region for willpower, motivation, self-control, essentially deciding when to push through difficulty. So these particular chemicals, they act as neurotoxins that disrupt brain function.
Yes.
I'm going to stop there.
Yes. Wow. I just last year this time, I was working on water purification systems, because that was something that one of the brothers here has experienced in. He asked me to assist him with trying to get the word out and to get people to get better water because of what you're saying, and other chemicals that come to us through our water. So I was unfortunately acquainted with PFAs. Now, I was aware of PFAs, but I didn't know until I started researching it last year how prevalent it was. And PFAs are or polyfluoroalkyl substances. And they're a large group of thousands of man-made chemicals known as forever chemicals. And they've been used since the 1940s for their water, their oil, grease resistant, and stain resistance in products like non-stick cookware. We were told not to use that, right? We got advance notice about these things. Firefighting foams, carpets, and food packaging, and they don't break easily, leading to widespread environmental contamination and health concerns like the first one on the list, cancer.
Go ahead, sister.
Immune issues, liver disease. So this prompts a regulatory action, but as you point out, what is being done about it? Yes, it may prompt a regulatory action, but what is really being done in that regulatory space, in that legal space? What is really being done for that? So again, as you said, it's important for us to pull our resources, link on to those that are of your kith and kin, that know the information and that can give you the best of what we have to offer in our sincere efforts to help save our people and ourselves.
Can I ask you a question, sister?
Yes, sir.
In your experience in the medical field and learning more about the PFAS and knowing what they do and how prevalent you are, the word that they are, the word that you use, and how we really are dousing ourselves with them on a daily basis, would you consider that a plague?
Absolutely.
I ask that because it says, come out of her, my people.
Yes. And that's why, again, the legislation, there's legislation. But when I read that and saw it, I said, oh my God, this is a big nut to crack, because, you have so many companies, these large companies that are, Monsanto and other of these large companies that just swallow up and can gobble up these smaller companies, and they have so much money. This statement is funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. They say, "Oh, he has more. That company has more money than God." So it's like they're so massive. It's almost, it's almost incomprehensible to say that we can do anything, but we can. We absolutely can, and we're in the day and time right now that we can actually.
Go ahead.
However, we have to. This is one of the agenda items that we have to address, because when you're looking at farming, and that this is a chemical that comes along with most farms as they use for their fertilizer and other things. We have to step into that space also. So those of us that are listening, because you and I, we can't do everything, but there are others who are listening, who this is being put into their, it's been downloaded to them in particular to take this up. This is an important aspect, an important topic to take up, to look into. So I'll just leave it right there. But it was important, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that it brings it back fresh to mind when I was looking into the water purification systems, how important that is, because they have some systems right now that are so effective that they actually can help filter that out. And very little, if any, can get through some of these filter systems. But I mean, most people, we look at how can we buy it? How can we get it? And again, with effort, with us pulling our resources, we can purchase these things in bulk. But we need the unity to do it, because when we all do a little, no one has to do a lot. And it's possible. It's something we can do. But again, we have to put it before the people and have that stream where we could freely trade information back and forth so we can get things done.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have a question. Any Zamzam Farm social media?
No, ma'am. I have been asked that
on the
so many
times. From Miles Langston, 3310. Okay.
We have a website.
Okay.
But yeah, we're not daily on there. We have to work on that, because I'm behind the times. Everybody communicates on there. So we will work on that.
Absolutely.
I also wanted to put out there that we also can come into your cities and your towns and your mosques and study groups, to get some of the information. We set up workshops and things of that nature. So that's something that we also provide.
Absolutely. Okay, and I'm putting this in on your banner now so that they see the website. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. So they see your website. There it is. Okay. It's Zamzam Farm, no S, right?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The website.
So
yes,
this
ma'am.
is the information for Brother Sawab, and to contact him through this distribution line is 214-600-6900. And we have Hassan Mumin 6 at Yahoo is his email. But please, if you want to get information regarding the farm, you can go right on the website. It's a wealth of information, zamzamfarm.com. Okay. All right. And as we move to another question, we do have another question. After that question is, here we are. Okay. So Bello Poultry Market. It says it's a popular butcher shop and farm market in the Holbrook, Holtzville area, known for its wide section of fresh halal meats, poultry, produce, and along with the vibrant atmosphere that includes fresh juices, spices, and family-friendly events. It offers a variety of cuts, including beef, lamb, and chicken, as well as prepared foods like rotisserie chicken, and has a reputation for knowledgeable staff and a clean environment. And they specialize in halal meat and poultry. Now, I do want to say this. Thank you for that comment. We had our brother, Victor Muhammad, who was on the program 2 weeks ago. And he stated that, and I'm not saying that this particular butcher shop or this particular farm does not offer true halal, but we do have someone among us who is extremely knowledgeable about the process for halal meats. And he states that very few in this country actually are following the true protocols that are written for halal. And again, I'm not saying this is that one. So I want us to be very careful and look into, is it really halal? And how you do that. I can also list our brother's information, because he's one, again, that I do know that has actual facts. He deals in actual facts. And so later on, I will share his information. So if you want to reach him directly, he will welcome you to contact him to get the information. Here is another question here. Assalamu alaikum. We are at war, and there is an attack on the soldiers for being the people who help the poor. How do we avoid self-serving individuals who exploit movements for status and not unity? Would you like to answer that, or
you could go ahead, sister. I would love to hear the sister warrior started off. And
well, you know how we avoid, in my humble opinion, how we quote unquote avoid self-serving individuals who exploit movements and thus and so. You have to go in the name of Allah. You have to know that He is real, number one, because there is an intuition that He gives us all on who is who and what is what. So if you feel deep within that this is something that's not right, look more closely into it, because that could also be telling you something about you. Sometimes we have to trust the process.
Yes.
Okay, so sometimes we have to trust the process and take our own thoughts and our own thinking that may be tainted somehow, some way about our fellow brother or sister. We know the white man coming, at least we should. I'm not saying that they all are bad, but I remember that the minister said, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. He said, well, why are we going to sift through all of them to find one good one? I mean, are we gonna be looking so hard? Well, we gonna do that just to say, okay, maybe this? No, we don't have that kind of time. Never had that kind of time. So that is my answer to that. Number one, we have to look at our own. We have to look at ourselves and know where our own opinions may be a little tainted. But also, you have to look, and when you look into yourself and say, what do I feel about this? Okay, let me just go into this and ask Allah and see if we can clear what may be there. That's not a good representation of who that person is. And if it is, then all praise is due to Allah. You avert that situation and you move on. Yes, sir.
Well said. I concur. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that's that. We have to realize, we have to know and understand that Allah is real. God is real. And He speaks to us. And He even speaks to us to the point where He tells us about ourselves if we can look in the mirror. If you look in the mirror, He'll speak to you and say, no, that's something you need to clear up. Get your act together. This is where I'm leading you. This is what you do. And then it's left up to us to follow. Okay. All right. So let's go to another one. It says, this is from Rafia Mumin, 3596. What kind of business plan do you need to have when starting a farm? And how do you know what type of farm equipment you will need? That's all you.
Yes. Thank you. That was an awesome question. Very, very intelligent question.
I'll put it there so you can still see it.
Yes. First thing that I would personally do is I would go back and listen to those tapes from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad when he talks about the economic business plan. And he also, the minister has also laid this out for Black people. But one of the things that we must do before you get into a business is you must really kind of evaluate yourself to see, is this something that you're just doing because it sounds good, or is your heart and soul truly into it? Because we don't want to get into anything just to do it, and we don't have the faith to push through when the most difficult parts of that particular mission, which is farming, is not easy, but it's very rewarding. But there's going to be difficulty factors attached. And so whenever we construct a team on whatever project or business that you're attempting to construct, you're weighing the people, you're measuring the people to see how fit, that word again, or how qualified they are for said mission. And so I think that the best thing that we can do is, first, we have to do an assessment on ourselves. Because as we, do you have 7 days a week to give if necessary? Are you willing to wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning if something's going on with the baby calf and or things of that nature? Are you willing to put your other loves and interests to the side to concentrate for at least 3 to 5 years to get the farm up to a strong, sustainable level? Because it takes time. And if we don't have a passion and a true love, and the minister said, desire feeds the will. So if we don't have a true desire to set ourselves free after the knowledge has come to us, then we have to reevaluate how successful has the enemy been in altering our thinking, when putting us in a position where we're now literally unfit for self. So I'm not trying to discourage anybody, but I want us to begin to really measure our thinking, because this is a serious, serious assignment. To set yourself free, to set yourself in heaven, is not an easy job. So I don't want anybody to, I would be a deceiver to you if I said, oh, brother, sister, all you got to do is just go out there and get some land and watch a couple of YouTube videos, and that's it. No,
but also,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I also want people to understand, just to grow enough food for you and your family, you don't need a farm. You don't need a farm to grow food, to grow your own food. You don't need a full service farm like Brother Sawab has. That's his business structure. That is what he does for a business, as well as, of course, he's supplying his family through his business. So perfect. But if you just want to have good, wholesome food free of the pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, forever chemicals, then you can do that on a smaller scale. Now, I'm not sure if you meant farm to start a business.
Can I share?
Yes.
Can I share one thing, sister? I talk to people about this all the time, Sister Dr. Patrice, and you wouldn't imagine the excuses I hear. I mean, we don't have enough land in our front yard or backyard. We're this age or we're that age. But I always ask people, what if there were no grocery stores? Would you say that? What if there wasn't a Winn-Dixie or a Publix or a Walmart? Would you say that? Mm-hmm. So we are comfortable with a certain level of death. Mm-hmm. We're comfortable with a certain level of torment, because that mindset bears witness that we're currently still unfit for self, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. Because there's no way we would have one single excuse if there was no grocery stores open.
Yes.
You'd be forced to do for self, or as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, suffer the consequences.
Right.
I don't care how old or young we are. Everybody can get out in the backyard and put a seed in the ground and watch it grow.
Right.
Everybody has the power to do that.
Right. Right. That's true. Absolutely.
Start there with a business plan. Just see if we can get our butts up, excuse my language, and get out there and put some seeds in the ground. And then if you can do that for a while, family, then all praise is due to Allah. We can move to bigger and better things.
And as she said, farm is the key to survival. We don't have any more time left. So we have to do our own farming. I want to as we start to wrap up in this last 6 minutes. And everybody, those of us who are Muslim, there are people who are on this broadcast that are not Muslim, but those who are Muslim, we have a Ramadan readiness class by our Imam, our national Imam, Sultan Rahman Muhammad.
Yes.
That starts at 7 o'clock Central. So I want to be in that number. So I want to put this banner up because I did mention our brother Victor. So if you want to reach him regarding halal, the halal process to make sure it's true halal meat, this is his number. You can reach him at the 478-332-7243. And it's his email, very simple, victor.muhammad@gmail.com. Victor with an E, VICTER .muhammad@gmail.com. And I have to give a shout out to our wonderful, wonderful Closing the Gap broadcast. And please donate to this broadcast because we have guests who you can't find information anywhere else on the earth with the guests that the Closing the Gap broadcast network hosts. Yes. So donate to the Closing the Gap broadcast via PayPal, JKingdom1 at AOL, or Cash App at $CTG broadcast and Zelle, Closing the Gap broadcast at gmail.com. Please donate to help keep us going so that we can continue to give the information for our people. Okay, so Brother Sawab, do you have any closing remarks as we're at the 4-minute mark for our broadcast? Before you start, I want to post your information one more time so people know exactly how to contact you as we close out.
Sister, again, thank you so very much for your tremendous sacrifice. Every time that I turn around, I'm not even exaggerating this at all. I always hear Sister Dr. Patrice, I mean, you're all over the place. You're doing so many things. And I've had the opportunity to get to know this sister over the past few months, and I can tell you that she's sincere. This sister will make herself available day, night, fly, get on a plane, whatever has to be done, this sister does that. So I would hope at some point in time, you can share with us how your will is so strong. Because I think that that's something that we really need to focus on in 2026, strengthening the will. And I thank you again, sister. And I thank your viewing audience. May Allah continue to bless everyone. And that's all I have to say for today. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much. And we all heard the student minister and Brother Sawab, didn't we? We heard the student minister and our student minister, Brother Sawab, didn't we? Because that is what we need. I mean, that is what we need. We need that ministry. We need that spiritual backing to help our people. We have to feed them that, to quicken them, to waken that, we have to awaken them. And that word, the words from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, coming from our Holy Quran and our lessons, that will help us to quicken our people because the time is now. The time is at hand. Yes. Thank you very much. And we look forward to our next broadcast, which will be the first week. I'm going to give it. I usually always give the date to the next broadcast when we come off air, so people will know to look for it, please. We would be back broadcasting on February the 5th, and that's 2 weeks prior to our annual Savior's Day convention.
Yes.
And so we're looking forward to that. And the day before we start, we have Ramadan. We start with Ramadan, February the 17th or 18th, depending on the side of the moon. So we have some good things coming up for the month of February, not just Black History Month, not just Black History Month, the shortest month in the year. But we're not gonna talk about that. If people want to reach me, shortest month in the year. Wow. But if you want to reach me, there I am. The website is healththatisbest.org. And you can reach me also. You can reach me also with where is my where's my email? Okay, I have an email for everyone. Just 1 second, please. Where's my email? Okay, so my email is healthatitsbest1, the number 1 at gmail.com. Very simple. Health at its best, the number 1 at gmail.com. Okay. All right. Thank you again for joining me. May Allah continue to bless us all and bless you, Brother Sawab, to help our people.
It's Allah.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, family.
Thank you. Wa alaikum salam.
This house is dedicated to knowledge and to the spreading of knowledge. Elijah Muhammad inspired new thought, new mind, new way of civilization among black people. But he wanted a house from which a light could be lifted up to give guidance to all who would be guided as this world begins to close down. This National Center for the re-education and retraining of the black man and woman, but for the totality of the human family of our planet. I named this mosque after the only woman that the Quran names a chapter after, the mother of Jesus, Maryam. All human beings need to be re-educated. That is the purpose of the National Center.